Otherwise, just here, Prabhu. Just here I will read. It is wasting time. We have short time. So far the glorification has been done for Madan Mohan Ji, and he has started to glorify Sri Govind Dev. So the Sambandha deity is Madan Mohan, which establishes our relationship. When this is established, that means this Sambandha is established. In the 16th verse, Krishna Das offers his obeisances to the functional deity. Although we covered this, but I am starting from here. The Govinda deity is called the functional deity because he shows us how to serve Radha and Krishna. The Madan Mohan deity simply establishes that I am your eternal servant. With Govinda, however, there is actual acceptance of service. Govinda resides eternally in Vrindavan. In the spiritual world of Vrindavan, the buildings are made of touchstone. The cows are known as Surabhi cows, giver of abundant milk. And the trees are known as wish-fulfilling trees. And they yield whatever one desires. This is a beautiful prayer of Prema Samhita. Anyone knows this prayer? Every day in the morning we recite this prayer. In Vrindavan, Krishna herds the Surabhi cow, and he is worshipped by hundreds and thousands of gopis, cowherd girls, who are all goddesses of fortunes. Lakshmi Sahasra Savasevya Sevyamana. When Krishna descends to the material world, the same Vrindavan descends with him. Just as an entourage accompanies an important personage. Because when Krishna comes, his land also comes. Vrindavan is considered to exist beyond the material world. This is better. Vrindavan is considered to exist beyond the material world. Therefore, devotees take the shelter of Vrindavan in India, for it is considered to be a replica of the original Vrindavan. That is Parvyom Vrindavan, and that is here it is called Bhaum Vrindavan. Therefore, devotees take shelter of Vrindavan in India, for it is considered to be the replica of the original Vrindavan. Although one may complain that no Kalpa Vrikshas, wish-fulfilling trees, exist there. When the 6 Goswamis were there, Kalpa Vrikshas were present. It is not that one can simply go to such a tree and make demands. One must first become a devotee. The Goswamis would live under a tree for one night only, and the trees would satisfy all their desires. For the common man, this may all seem very wonderful, but as one makes progress in devotional service, all this can be realized. So we read, I think, till here yesterday. Vrindavan is actually experienced as it is by persons who have stopped trying to derive pleasure from material enjoyment. Vishaya chhadiya kabe shuddha hobe man, kabe ham heribo Shri Vrindavan. When my mind becomes cleansed of all hankerings for material enjoyment, so I will be able to see Vrindavan. One great devotee asked, the more Krishna conscious we become, the more we advance, the more everything is revealed as spiritual. Thus, Krishnadas Kaviraj considered the Vrindavan in India to be as good as Vrindavan in the spiritual sky. And in the 16th verse of the Caitanya-Caritāmṛta, he describes Radharani and Krishna as seated beneath a wish-fulfilling tree in Vrindavan, on a throne decorated with valuable jewels. There, Krishna's dear Gopi friend serves Radha and Krishna by singing, dancing, offering betel nuts and refreshment. This is another obeisances prayers. To which deity? Govinda. Divyad Vrindaranya Kalpadrumada. Kalpadrumada is what? Kalpadrumada is the wish-fulfilling trees. Kalpa. Kalpa means the arrangements of the trees, the latas. And Drumada. Srimad Ratnagara. So where they are seated on a throne which is decorated with valuable jewels. Singhasanasto Sri Srimad Radha Ashila Govindeva Preshthalevi Seve Manos Maram. and how the gopis are serving Radha and Krishna by singing, dancing, offering betel nuts and refreshments and decorating their lordship with flowers. Even today in India, people decorate swinging thrones and recreate this scene during the month of July, August. What is it called? Jhulan Utsav. To come to our temples, all temples in Vrindavan, they still have this festival. Even today in India, people decorate swinging thrones and recreate this scene during the month of July, August. Generally, at that time, people go to Vrindavan to offer their respect to the deities there. Finally, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami offers his blessings to his readers in the name of the Gopinath deity, who is Krishna as master and proprietors of the gopis. When Krishna played upon his flute, all the gopis or cowherd girls were attracted by the sound and left their household duties. And when they came to him, he danced with them. What is the pranam mantra for Lord Gopinath? Shriman Rasa Rasarambhi Vamsi Vata Chatastito Karshan Venu Swaner Gopi Gopinatha Shriyastano. So this explanation is given of that pranam mantra of Sri Gopinath ji. These gopis, he danced with them. These activities are all described in the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. That is the Rasa Pancha Adhyaya. These gopis were childhood friends of Krishna and many were married. For in India, the girls are generally married at the age of 12. The boys, however, are not married before 18. So Krishna, who was 15 or 16 at that time, was not married. Nonetheless, he called these girls from their homes and invited them to dance with him. That dance is called the Ādi-līlā dance. And it is the most elevated of all Vrindavan pastimes. Krishna is therefore called Gopinath because he is the beloved master of the gopis. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami petitions the blessings of Lord Gopinath. May that Gopinath, the master of the gopis, bless you. May you become blessed by Gopinath. The author of Caitanya-Caritāmṛta prays that just as Krishna attracted the gopis by the sweet sound of his flute, he will also attract the reader's mind by that transcendental vibration. So we will begin with the first verse of the first chapter. Introduction is over here. Let me see if I can join through the laptop. Okay, it is not. So if you have the access, you can see this is the chapter 1, and the chapter 1, to whom is he paying the obeisances? To the 6 forms. Vande Guru Ishan Bhakta. So to the obeisances to the 6 features of the Supreme Absolute Truth. So before I come to the verse, there is a little introduction by Prabhupada. Śrī Caitanya-Mahaprabhu is none other than the combined form of Sri Radha and Krishna. He is the life of those devotees who strictly follow in the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami. That is why the Gaudiya Vaishnavas are called Rupanuga. Why Rupanuga? Because we strictly follow into the footsteps, into the teachings and instructions of Srila Rupa Goswami. Then one is Gaudiya. Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Sanatan Goswami are 2 principal followers of Srila Sarup Damodar Goswami, who acted as the most confidential servitor of Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, known as Vishwambhara in his early life. A direct disciple of Srila Rupa Goswami was Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. The author of Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta, Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, stands as the direct disciple of Srila Rupa Goswami and Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. So this is the lineage. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami is the spiritual master of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, who is the author. And Srila Rupa Goswami is the spiritual master of Srila Raghunath Das Goswami. And Srila Sarup Damodar Goswami takes the position of the spiritual master of Srila Rupa Goswami. And of course, Srila Sarup Damodar Goswami is the direct disciple of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this is the lineage. The direct disciple of Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami was Srila Narottam Das Thakur, who accepted Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur as his servitor. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur accepted Srila Jagannath Das Babaji, who initiated Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur, who accepted Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, the spiritual master of Om Vishnupad, Srila Bhakti Saraswati Goswami Maharaj, the divine master of our humble self. So this lineage is coming down from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly to Srila Prabhupada. So Prabhupada is taking a humble position. He is not mentioning his name. He says, since we belong to this chain of disciplic succession from Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu, this edition of Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta will contain nothing newly manufactured by our tiny brains. So this is the purity of Prabhupada's Caitanya-Caritāmṛta. Because it has nothing which is coming from his own mind. It is coming from the parampara. But only remnants of food originally eaten by the Lord himself. Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu does not belong to the mundane plane of the three qualitative modes. He belongs to the transcendental plane beyond the reach of the imperfect senses perceptions of a living being. Even the most erudite mundane scholar cannot approach the transcendental plane unless he submits himself to transcendental sound with a receptive mood. For in that mood only can one realize the message of Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu. What will be described here, therefore, has nothing to do with the experimental thoughts created by the speculative habits of inert minds. The subject matter of this book is not a mental concoction, but a factual spiritual experience that one can realize only by accepting the line of disciplic succession described above. So Caitanya-Caritāmṛta can only be known those who are in strict footsteps of the disciplic parampara. Any deviation from that line will bewilder the reader's understanding. So Prabhupada is cautioning that if one is not faithful and one is not a follower of the disciplic succession, he will only be bewildered and confused. The understanding of the mystery of Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta, which is a transcendental literature, again Prabhupada is saying it is meant for postgraduate study of one who has realized all Vedic literatures. So Caitanya-Caritāmṛta is for those who have already realized all Vedic literature such as the Upanishads and the Vedanta Sutra. We do not know even ABC of what is Vedanta Sutra or what to talk of the Upanishads. And their natural commentaries such as Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita. Of course, by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, to some extent Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam is being revealed. This edition of Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta is presented for the study of a sincere scholars who are really seeking the absolute truth. It is not the arrogant scholarship of a mental speculation, a sincere effort to serve the order of a superior authority, whose service is the life and soul of this humble effort. Srila Prabhupada is mentioning about himself. It does not deviate even slightly from the revealed scriptures. And therefore, anyone who follows in the disciplic line will be able to realize the essence of this book simply by the method of oral reception. Very important. Prabhupada is not writing by study. Prabhupada is saying that anyone who follows the disciplic line will be able to realize the essence of this book simply by the method of oral reception, Shravanam. The first chapter of Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta begins with the 14 Sanskrit verses that describes the absolute truth. Then the next 3 Sanskrit verses describe the principal deities of Vrindavan, namely Sri Radha Madan Mohan, Sri Radha Govind Dev, and Sri Radha Gopinath Ji. The first of the 14 verses is a symbolic representation of the supreme truth, and the entire first chapter is in actuality devoted to this single verse, which describes Lord Chaitanya and his 6 different transcendental expansions. So this first chapter we will speak about, this will only focus on Lord Chaitanya and his 6 different transcendental expansions. This is the first verse. The first manifestation described is the spiritual master who appears in 2 plenary parts, called as the initiating spiritual master and the instructing spiritual master. They are identical because both of them are phenomenal manifestations of the supreme truth. Nas describes are the devotees who are divided into 2 classes, namely the apprentices and the graduates. The devotees are also 2 types. Apprentice means those who are still on the path of practice, and the graduate means those who have perfected. Next are the incarnation avatars of the Lord, who are explained to be non-different from the Lord. These incarnations are considered in three divisions: incarnations of the potency of the Lord, incarnation of his qualities, and incarnation of his authority. In the next connection, Lord Shri Krishna, direct manifestation and his manifestation for transcendental pastimes are described. Next considered are the potencies of the Lord, of which three principal manifestations are described: the consorts in the kingdom of God Vaikuntha, the queens of Dwarikadham, and the highest of all, the damsels of Brajadham. So these are the potencies or the energies. So they have three divisions. Finally, there is the Supreme Lord himself, who is the fountainhead of all these manifestations. Lord Sri Krishna and his plenary expansions are all in the category of the Lord himself, the energetic absolute truth, whereas his devotees, his eternal associates, are his energies. So this two classification, please try to understand to some extent whatever is possible. His expansions, which are the Lord himself, whereas his devotees who are his eternal associates. The energy and the energetic are fundamentally one, but since the functions are differently exhibited, they are simultaneously different also. Thus, the absolute truth is manifested in diversity in one unit. This philosophical truth, which is pursuant to the Vedanta Sutra, is called Achintya Bheda Veda Tattva, or the conception of simultaneous oneness and difference. In the later portion of this chapter, the transcendental position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and that of Nityananda Prabhu are described with reference to the above theistic facts. So we begin with the first verse, the first payar of Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta. This is Vande Guru Nisha Bhaktan Isham Ishavatarakam Tat Prakasham Tatat Shakti Krishna Chaitanya Samjakam. So Vande Guru. Vande means offering obeisances, offering respects. And to whom is Kaviraj Goswami beginning to offer the respects? First to the Gurus. Shri Gurun Vaishnavansha. Guru means it is plural. And there are many Gurus in terms of those who are Siksha Guru or the instructing Gurus. So the first obeisances are unto the spiritual master. Then the second he says is Isha Bhakta. Isha means the Lord, Ishvara. And Bhakta means those who are his devotees. So Isha Bhakta is the devotees of the Supreme Lord. So first obeisances is to all the spiritual masters. Then he is offering his obeisances unto all the devotees of the Supreme Lord. Then Isham. Isha is the Supreme Lord. And next, fourth is Ishavatarakam. Avatarakam. Isha Avatarakam. Avatar means that descends. And what are these avatars? They are all the incarnations of the Supreme Lord. Avatar, those who come down. There are so many avatars. So these incarnations of the Supreme Lord is offering his obeisances. So how many? 4. Guru, Isha Bhakta, Ishan, and Avataraka. And next is Tat Prakashans. Prakash means the manifestations. Prakash is further manifestations or expansions of the expansions. They are called as the Prakash. It will become more clear. So don't get disheartened that it is not getting into our heart. Just here. Just here. And Tat Shakti. Shakti is the energies, the potencies. Krishna Chaitanya Samjakam. So Krishna Chaitanya is manifesting or is expanding into 6 features. So these 6 collected together is the supreme absolute truth. So let us see the translation. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the spiritual masters, that is Guru, the devotees of the Lord, Isha Bhaktas. Isha, the Lord's incarnation, Avatarkas, his Prakashas, his plenary portions, and his Shaktis, his energies. And the Lord himself, who is Krishna Chaitanya. So this is the first verse. So this verse is being explained in the entire chapter. The entire chapter is the explanation of this one verse, as it will be in the next coming chapters also. Now comes the second verse, which glorifies Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. Very beautiful prayer. This is a prayer to memorize before we go to Mayapur. Try to memorize this very beautiful prayer. Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityananda Suhodito Gaudoday Pushpavanto Chitra Sando Tamanuda. So Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya. So the obeisances are being offered to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is appeared as Shri Krishna Chaitanya. And simultaneously, obeisances are being offered to Nityananda, who Nityananda Prabhu, who is non-different from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And what is the wonder? That Saha Odito. Saha means simultaneously, and Udita means to arise. So they have both appeared together. Where they have appeared together? Gaudoday. On the eastern horizon of the Gauda Desh. So they have both arisen together, or they have both manifested together. And what is so striking about that? Pushpavanto. That it is very amazing that the two, one is compared to the sun and the other is compared to the moon. So both have arisen together. Normally what happens is, if the sun is arising, the moon is setting. And when the sun is setting, then the moon is arising. But what is the amazement? That in Gauda Desh, both of them, the sun and the moon, they have arisen together. Pushpavanto. This is Chitra. This is wonderful. This is amazing. And why they have arisen together? It has never happened before. Sando, to give the best of the benedictions, Tamonudo, to dissipate the darkness of ignorance. So both the sun and the moon of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu, they are appearing together in the horizon of Navadip. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Shri Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, who are like the sun and moon. They have arisen simultaneously on the horizon of Gauda to dissipate the darkness of ignorance and thus wonderfully bestow benediction upon all. So this is very amazing. Never ever it happens that the sun and the moon, they both appear together. But it is the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. So both are pairing and coming together. The third verse is the Vastu Nirdesha. The first two verses are obeisances, offering namaskar. Offering namaskar what? First to Sri Krishna Chaitanya, who is in 6 features, and the next is to Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda. Now, Kaviraj Goswami focuses on the Vastu Nirdesh, the object or substance of worship or of this book. Yat Advaitam Brahmo Upanishadi Tat Apiyasya Tanobha Yat Atmantaryam Yami Purusha Iti So Amsha Vibhavaha Shadashwarya Purno Yaya Bhagavan Sa Swayam Ayam Na Chaitanyat Krishna Jagati Paratatvam Param Iha. This is the big verse. What that Upanishad describes as the impersonal Brahman is but the effulgence of his body. Yat Advaitam. Advaita means non-dual, and Brahmo, Brahmono, Upanishadi. Upanishadi is about the Upanishads describe. What? Brahmo Upanishadi means the impersonal Brahman. So what is the Brahman effulgence or the Brahman impersonal feature? Is the effulgence of his body, and the Lord known as the super soul is but his localized plenary portion. Yad Atma Antar Yami Purusha iti so Asyama Vibhava. So Atma Antar is the super soul. That is the localized portion. Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, full with 6 opulences, he is the absolute truth, and no other truth is greater or equal to him. So this is the substance, or this is the vastu, which is being nirdesh, which is being instructed in the entire Caitanya-Caritāmṛta. What is there? To establish that the supreme absolute truth, the personality of Godhead, is Lord Chaitanya himself. There is no truth which is greater or equal to him. And the localized super soul is his plenary portion, and the Brahman is his effulgence. So this is the third verse. And now comes the fourth verse. Anyone remembers what the fourth verse speaks? Anarpita chiram chirat karunavatirna kalo samarpaitum unnat ujjwal rasam swabhakti shriya Hari Purata Sundara Duti Kadam Santi Pita Sada Hridaya Kandare Spurato Vasati Nandana. So in this fourth verse, he is invoking the benediction. I think Pranab Prabhu wrote about it very nicely of the Mangalacharan, that it has 3 aspects. First is the obeisances, namaskars. That is the first 2 verses. Third is the Vastu Nirdesh, the object or the substance of our worship or of this book. And fourth is invoking benediction. So what is the benediction? The first, let us understand this verse, whatever little extent we can. He says, Anarpita chiram chirat. Arpita means to offer, and Anarpita means which has never been offered. And chiram chirat, chiram means for a long time. That which was never ever offered for a long time. Now that is being offered. Why? Because Karuna Avatirana Kalau. Because of the descent of the most magnanimous form of the Lord, which is filled with compassion, Karuna, or which is filled with causeless mercy. So that causeless mercy or that Karuna personified has now Avatirana Kalau. Avatirana means that he has descended or he has appeared. Kalau means in this age. And what is the purpose? Samarpaitum. Samarpaitum is samarpan, is to give or to bestow. What is he bestowing? What is the gift that he is giving? Unnat ujjwal rasam. Unnat means which is very advanced or which is very high. And what is that rasa? Ujjwal rasam. That is the conjugal mellow, the madhurya rasa. In the morning, I was taking class in Faridabad. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Krishna Samhita, he mentions that the mantra which was there in the Satayuga, which was practiced by Prahlad Maharaj and Dhruva Maharaj, they would basically situate the practitioner to the platform of Shantarasa. And there was only a little bit of adulteration of Dasyarasa. And in the next stage, it was Treta. It was Shanta, Dasya, and a little bit of Sakhya. And when it became Dwapar, the elevation came till Vatsalya. But in Kali Yuga, this is the greatest benediction. What is the greatest benediction? Is Samarpaitum Unnat Ujjwala Rasam. that which was never offered, that is anarpita, which was never offered before. Never offered before, not before the age of Kali, not before the advent of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What is that? Unnat Ujjvala Rasa, the conjugal mellows of the Supreme Lord. And what is that conjugal mellow? How is he offering? Swabhakti Shriyam, is through the treasure of one's own service. So as one engages in the service of the Supreme Lord, as one enters the realm of devotional service, Swabhakti Shriyam, and that Supreme Lord, which is Hari, that Hari is adventing, or he is manifesting as Purat Sundara. Purat means the gold. So he has the golden complexion, and Sundara means he is very beautiful. And Dyuti Kadamba Sandipita. And what is this Dyuti? Dyuti means the hue or the complexion. It is of splendor. It is of molten gold. It is Kadamba Deepita, Sandipita. And it is always effulgent, it is glowing, Sandipita. So what is the benediction? What is the Ashirvad he is seeking? Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Sada Hidaya Kandare, Spurato Va Sachi Nandare. So he is praying, he is desiring, he is begging that in my heart, Sada Hidaya Kandare, in the inner chambers of my heart, Spurato Va Sachi Nandare, that moon, that son of Mother Sachi, he always manifests in the core of my heart. So this is the benediction he is saying. Now let us see the translation. May the Supreme Lord, who is known as the son of Srimati Sachi Devi, be transcendently situated in the innermost chamber of your heart. Now, Prabhupada is giving, you see the words? Prabhupada is giving this blessing to all of us. Whoever is reading Caitanya-Caritāmṛta. See how Prabhupada is blessing. May the Supreme Lord, who is known as the son of Srimati Sachi Devi, be transcendently situated in the innermost chamber of your heart. Resplendent with the radiance of molten gold, he has appeared in the age of Kali by his causeless mercy to bestow what no incarnation has ever offered before. Anarpita Chiram Chirat Karuna Avatirana. The most sublime and radiant mellow of devotional service, the mellow of conjugal love. So this is the benediction which Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is seeking. He is offering glorification of the Lord. And also he is seeking the benediction. So any prayer has four components. So many times we have spoken about it. It is glorification, it is the gratitude, it is seeking forgiveness, and also asking for benediction. So here we see he is expressing mainly the glorification of the Lord, and also he is seeking the benediction. So now we come to the fifth verse. So fifth verse is very, very confidential verse. This is the Mool Prayojan. This is the main purpose of the advent of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This we will discuss there, if we are allowed. Radha Krishna Pranay Vrikte Ladini Sakti Rasmat Ekatmano Api Bhuva Pura Deha Bedam Gatauto Chetanakhyam Prakatam Madhuna Tadvayam Chakyam Aputum Radha Bhav Duti Subalitam Naumi Krishna Swarupam. Honestly, I cannot explain this verse. This is beyond my understanding. So whatever little I have heard, I'll try to share. Radha Krishna Pranay Vikti. The appearance of Radha and Krishna and their transformation. Ladhini Shakti Rasma. I will not try this verse to explain. I will just read the translation. The loving affairs of Sri Radha and Krishna are transcendental manifestations of the Lord's internal pleasure-giving potency. Although Radha and Krishna are one in their identity previously. Radha and Krishna are one in their identity previously. Ek atmano api bhuvi pura. They were one. And what is the difference? Deha bhedam. One Atma, but they are manifesting in two forms. Deha bhedam gatautam. And Chaitanakyam prakatam madhuna tadvaya chakyam aptum. So that two have combined that which was one, which was manifested at two. Krishna, it expanded at two as Radha and Krishna. And that two have combined again to appear as one in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Although Radha and Krishna are one in their identity, previously they separated themselves. Now the two transcendental identities have again united in the form of Sri Krishna Chaitanya. I bow down to them, who has manifested himself with the sentiment and complexion of Srimati Radha Rani, although he is Krishna himself. This is the most confidential verse. Which speaks about the essential truth of the mool pleasure or the prime reason for Lord Chaitanya's advent, which we talked about it, that he wants to experience those three aspects which has never been experienced before. Go ahead. We'll take the one more verse and we'll complete today the glorification of the first 6 verses of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Shri Radha Pranay Mahima ki disho vaniyeva swadyo yen adbhut madhurima ki drisho va madiya saukhyam chasya mad anubhavata ki drisham veti lobha tad bhavadaya samajani sachi garbha sindho harinduto. Desiring to understand the glory of Radharani's love, the wonderful qualities in him that she alone relishes through her love, and the happiness she feels when she realizes the sweetness of this love. So these are the 3 reasons. First is trying to understand the glory of Radharani's love, the wonderful qualities in him that she alone relishes through her love. This is first. And the happiness she feels when she realizes the sweetness of his love. Whose love? Krishna's love. The Supreme Lord Hari, richly endowed with her emotion, appeared in the womb of Srimati Sachi Devi as the moon appears from the ocean. So I'll stop here. So this is the first 6 verses. In these first 6 verses, the Tattva of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the most confidential Tattva, is being revealed by Shri Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. And from tomorrow, we have one more day tomorrow. That is Friday. We will see if we can come till 14th verse. We have covered first 6. So we will cover the 14th verse. So in a way, we have covered the first 7 chapters. And hopefully, in Navadip, we will enter into the Leela. So the Tattva is at least to some extent known. Someone has to say something? Any question or any discussion? One hand is up. Yes, please speak.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you have explained Tat Prakasham means his plenary portions. What are the plenary portions?
What are his plenary portions? The expansions of his expansions, Amsha and Kala. There's so many, like his expansion is, his avatara is Nityanand Prabhu. And from Nityanand Prabhu, who is coming? Sankarshana is coming, Mahavishnu is coming, Garbhodakshai Vishnu is coming. And what is Advaitacharya?
Mahavishnu and Lord Shiva, Sadashiv.
So what is he? He is the expansion of his expansion, which is Nityanand Prabhu's expansion. There are many, many details in this. Many, many details. I'm just giving you a broad overview. There are so many prakashas, Vaibhav Prakash, and there are so many prakashas. A lot more details are there. But if we try to logically accept it and try to understand it, it will be very difficult. So just relish in here. See, that is why I was emphasizing what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Again and again, what one has to do? One has to give oral reception with faith. That's it. Hare Krishna. Okay, anyone else? Hare Krishna. So we'll stop here. And we will again resume tomorrow, Krishna willing. Thank you very much. Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta ki jai. Śrīla Prabhupada ki jai. Upasthit Savi Bhaktivinoda ki jai.